Good day. OAS, thank you for having me up here again, and I couldn't agree more. We have to have more retinal therapies to actually help these people that are in such dire need. And so we're here to talk about Eyedaptic. Eyedaptic is helping improve vision with augmented reality and artificial intelligence. Now, this is Elizabeth Baker. Elizabeth is a physical therapist, and she is actually a world-class triathlete. She took fourth in the Paralympic Games in Rio, and she is legally blind. And this is the first time in her life she was able to read the blood pressure cuff by using Eyedaptic. So that's what we do. What are we doing? We are using smart glasses, which essentially has high-resolution cameras and displays that sit right in front of the eyes. And with our proprietary solution and software, we are able to enhance and make that image more presentable. And really what we're doing is taking that remaining peripheral vision, activating that, and getting it to mimic central vision. So this is an FDA Class 1 exempt device, so fortunately no clinical trials, but I'm going to talk about our clinical studies next. We currently have 19 patents granted and 11 more pending. So our primary indication, of course, has been macular degeneration. As we all know, 90% of that is dry AMD, so with no therapies to improve vision. I'm also going to talk a little bit about our clinical study in diabetic retinopathy, and some of our foundational patents are also to address macular pucker or scarring, a distortion of vision. So we believe we can help a large portion of these 400 million people in the world today with retinal diseases, and our initial target, of course, is the U.S., with that intermediate and late stage AMD making up about 5 million people today. So just a little bit on our clinical studies and the clinical landscape. Of course, we all know with wet AMD, something like Eylea is the gold standard. That's both for wet AMD and also diabetic retinopathy. Our original study was targeted at AMD, designed actually by Dr. Cormier, who's I think somewhere in the back here. Thank you, Becky. And this is where we saw roughly a doubling of visual acuity. So 18 letters gained against their regular glasses, but we also run an extra endpoint, not just for visual acuity, but in this study, we really wanted to prove that this not only helps someone see better, but also helps them in their daily activities. And that's where we saw roughly a 5 times improvement in daily activities by using Eyedaptic. We then went on to run a diabetic retinopathy study that was presented last year at the Retina Society, again seeing roughly a doubling of visual acuity. And then also our second endpoint there was an increase in contrast sensitivity. And that's where we saw roughly a 50% increase in contrast sensitivity, something especially important for the diabetic eye conditions. So again, I think the other thing to keep in mind with Eyedaptic is does not have to be a standalone therapy. This also can be a combination therapy. So if someone, for instance, does have wet AMD, we can get gains on top of that with whatever therapy they're using today. I think what's most important now, we have hundreds of empirical data points because we are in the market, and we're seeing with our current product more like an average of 6 lines gained on the eye chart. And that's not 6 letters, that's 6 lines. 30 letters of improvement gain, roughly a quadrupling of visual acuity. And our next clinical study, which we're looking at site selection now, is to basically validate that empirical data, but also add a second endpoint, and that's going to be targeted some of our new AI features, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So we are really the one device that can really serve all the needs of these visually impaired people. Essentially, we pick up where regular optical solutions leave off. So when someone gets to about 20/70 and their regular glasses aren't working anymore, we're able to help them from there. So our target is in the 20/70 to 2400 best corrected visual acuity, and we're extending that and expanding that market. So this is just a sample of what some of the people are doing with Eyedaptic. The one thing we say is no driving, no power tools. The guy that called and said, "Can I drive my tractor and use my chainsaw?" I had to give him a hard no on that. So we are in the market. Like I said, we've gone through several generations in testing that market with our pilot products. And certainly what's been on the market today for the last 18 months is our i5, and that is what is ramping revenue today. I'm going to talk a little bit about our new i6, which on top of the vision enhancement that we just talked about adds a whole new layer of AI visual assistance. So this is a consumer payable, very similar to hearing aids, priced the same as hearing aids, also similar to premium IOLs. These are all out of pocket. Now, we know that many people pay for those today, and those are both multi-billion-dollar markets, and we believe that this offers the same opportunity. So we have been expanding. We sell only through eye care practices. We do not sell direct to consumer. We target primarily optometry and ophthalmology practices. And some of where we've had our most recent success and our best success is not surprisingly in the retina practices. Of course, the retina practices have all of these patients. We train the technicians or an optician to dispense Eyedaptic. We're regularly seeing 50% conversion and against that best corrected visual acuity of 20/70 to 2400. And of course, the practice makes money doing this as well. So not only are they able to help their patients, but they're able to make $1,000 to $2,000 per sale. So what's, I think, most important at this point, because we have very good data over hundreds of patients, is we're seeing over a 90% retention rate. Again, it's a consumer payable. They have the right to return this in 30 days, and we're seeing over the last 2 years a 95% retention rate, which we're delighted with. So, moving on to what we just announced in August at the American Retina Forum is our multimodal generative AI visual assistant, Ivy, which is kind of a mouthful. Ivy is powered by ChatGPT and is a pure software upgrade to our present product. So anyone that has our i5 can get Ivy uploaded, or I should say updated over the air anywhere in the world. And what I always have found is trying to explain how powerful this is to someone with a visual impairment is tricky. So what I wanted to do is just show you a quick 60-second video, and hopefully the audio is working.
Hey, Ivy, what am I looking at?
The image depicts a serene mountain landscape during what appears to be sunset. In the foreground, there's a small wooden cabin with a chimney, next to which is a lively campfire with flames and embers visible. A mountain bike is standing on the grass to the right of the campfire. In the background, majestic mountains with snow patches rise dramatically against the sky, which is painted with warm hues of orange and yellow, suggesting the sun is setting. A large bird, possibly an eagle, is in flight on the right side of the image, adding a sense of wilderness and freedom to the scene. The overall atmosphere is peaceful and picturesque.
Introducing Eyedaptic's visual assistant, Ivy, seeing smarter to elevate independence.
So when we showed Ivy that exact picture, that was the exact recording of what she said. So this offers these people that even are past 2400, that might have other forms of retinal diseases, or glaucoma for that matter, the ability to do many more things. They really appreciate that vivid description of what they're looking at. What you may not have noticed, for instance, that was very directionally accurate. It told you the mountain bike was on the right-hand side of the picture. It told you the exact colors it was seeing, and this is all highly valuable to these visually impaired people. So our goal is to be number one in this multi-billion-dollar market. We do offer today the most advanced technology using AI and computer vision. We are enabling practices today to dispense this easily and creating an ongoing community of engagement with our advanced features. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your attention.